Well, 200 people dead in December alone. That is what the road carnage statistics are looking as we speak. A huge number. It has raised the eyebrows of many and clearly has gotten the attention of those that are stakeholders in this. Well, to talk more about the matter are people who are living and affected one way or another by road accidents. 8 of them with me in studio, and we'll get to hear from them and what this means to them. And speaking of which, Bright, you are on a wheelchair. This matters to you because 200 people, one too many.
200 people dying in 1 month is a disaster. And for somebody who's been involved in a road crash, it just traumatizes you afresh. And you can imagine the family members what they'll be going through now.
Nelly, this is also very personal to you. When you hear that these numbers are rising per the day, what does that mean to you?
Somehow we can't put the past to rest, because every time we hear of a road accident, then we recollect or we go back to our daughter's death all over again. And we wish it would actually be dealt with seriously.
And maybe this is a point where I ask you what the Interior Acting CS, Fred Matiang'i, is speaking about getting the traffic department in order. Does this make sense to you? Is this what needs to be done?
That's part of what needs to be done, and it needs to be done very fast. And there's so much more. Like on University Way, there is a self-made, I call it matatu parking, and I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. Just next to St. Paul's Church, yeah, there is a problem there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see a lot of disasters coming up.
All right, definitely a lot of stories that have come out of road carnages across the country, and not even now. This has been the story year in, year out. We'll get to hear more from our focus group. There are 8 of them in studio giving real stories and, of course, offering real solutions for the issues that we are dealing with now. And with me in studio, 8 members of society randomly picked to speak about this very pertinent topic, and we're talking about road safety. The carnage we have seen in the last couple of days is mind-blowing. We're talking about 200 people dead in the month of December alone. Now, off the story tonight about the Interior Acting CS, that is Fred Matiang'i, speaking about an overhaul expected in the transport department, and he touched on the fact that 127 police officers from that department that had been interdicted have actually been reinstated by the court. So this brings to the question, how far can those reforms go? But to bring more face to this conversation, with me is a lady who's been living with a disability for 11 years. Her name is Jacqueline Shambua. Jacqueline, this happened to you at a road trip. You were young, but this has been your reality for the last 11 years. When you hear that 127 police officers have been taken back to their posts just because there was a court order, what does that mean to you?
Sometimes it's not easy because I think they don't take these things serious. There are some who are suffering a lot because of road carnage. But when you hear somebody somewhere was somehow involved in was recklessly doing something that can cause road accident and then it's taken back, it affects us because we are the people who are living with that problem.
With the reality. Yeah. All right, Sami, you survived a road accident. When you think about the impunity that comes with the road carnage, because we are told and we know that corruption and of course greed on the road is one of the few reasons why the numbers are going up.
I think, Gladys, it is so sad.
You make use of your microphone.
It is so sad to hear about losing 200 Kenyans. And my colleague here just said the numbers are in people. You know, when the people out there hear accident has occurred, it is to them. They don't care. But here we are with my sister here. I have a leg here, broken in 1996. We are coming from service from Nanyuki to Nairobi, and we lost one officer and 3 wives of military officers. And it was so sad. Can you imagine, Gladys, 3 bodies lying on me dead? It is so bad. So I think something should be done seriously. We should have another Michuki, and Matiang'i should go very fast and try to stop this and bring sanity to our roads.
All right, Tina, you mentioned you are in the transport business. The spotlight is on you, definitely, because there's a lot of corruption on the roads. People paying bribes to get out of trouble, overloading, overspeeding. What are you doing in your position to actually make sure that this is mitigated?
Actually, it's Sarah.
Sarah, yes.
Yeah, well, normally our workers are not allowed to give any bribes to the cops. They're not allowed to deal with the cops directly. So it's the managers who deal with the cops directly. And for the cops, I feel it's all about greed. Because this cop will be given 500, 1,000 and allow, sorry, and allow a bus or a matatu that's faulty to still continue working on the roads. So it's all about greed. Yeah.
Now, Diko, for you, I think it takes two to tango. So the police who's taking the bribe, the person who is giving the bribe.
Yeah, it's true. You know, we have been singing about this. It's just like it's something which we have been talking about from day one, but we don't want to tackle the solution. We don't want to talk about the solution, or we don't want to talk about the how am I going to put it?
The real issue.
The real issues. To me, what I can say, police needs to be reformed. Yeah, so Mwangi needs to do something with police.
Okay, I hear police being reformed. Arnold, as a citizen, there are many motorists that are behaving badly, overspeeding, drinking, and driving. What can be done in that case?
For example, you said the drinking thing. Certain brands can partner up with companies like Taxify and Uber and do promotions that allow people to get transport at cheaper prices, or perhaps increase this designated driver kind of culture where you give offers to people who come with a designated driver to the event and as such.
Okay. Well, Simon, for that to actually happen, it takes a lot of personal discipline. You come from a culture where this has been inculcated and the results actually speak for themselves.
Yeah, that's right. I spent most of my childhood in the States, and what happens is this. People respect the rule of traffic. They respect that. Now here in Kenya, we have, I blame this is my point of view, I see it like we have procrastination nature. We put everything to the last minute. Now we treat the last minute like it's dessert. It is something that we gotta take. Like we gotta make sure we wait until the last minute and take it all in. But that last minute rush, it leads us to now making uncalculated decisions. You wanna overlap, and you don't realize that you're overlapping yourself to your own death. You're overlapping your own life. And that starts with people knowing that whole discipline of, I need to respect when the traffic light is red, and I do that. And I need to respect that when I am not able to cross over to this lane, and when now it's double blocked and when it's striped. You know, that's that whole rush, it makes us make bad decisions. And you hear like 90%, a majority of the road carnage is usually led to the driver's careless behavior. Yeah, that's probably what it is.
All right, Sami, you are I think you're the eldest in the group. I mean, the Sachangwan area, finally we see bumps that have been erected. We are seeing something being done about such an area, and this is because the numbers there in the last couple of days have been mind-blowing. What do you, some of these issues, why are they done now, yet it has been an issue for a very long time?
You see, Gladys, it's a tendency of human beings in psychology. It's a tendency of human beings to forget very easily. Very easily, especially in Kenya. We forget very easily. I think the real issue here is we have laws, but we don't have people who have moral standards to enforce those laws. And I'll take you back again to Gladys, to Michuki. We had Michuki rules where we had safety belts, matatus were not overloaded, we had speed governors, and all of a sudden, and I'm sorry to mention the names, Mwakwere was the minister, was in charge of this. When he came in, hell went loose. Everything went down. I think, like my colleague has said, Matiang'i should start now. It is on attitude. We have a very wrong attitude, carelessness, indiscipline, and this is where the problem is.
Okay, now Tina, numbers from the NTSA on accidents effect on the GDP. 3 out of the 3,000 deaths that are reported per year, a huge majority of that are actually young people between 20 and 44 years, meaning that that's the most productive population that we are losing to road accidents. What does this mean to you?
This just means that there's a problem in terms of why are the road accidents so much to the point that it's just young people? Because some of these things I tend to think it's things like overspeeding. You know, people are psyched up, they're the youngies, it's an opportunity for them. So I think it's the lack of proper and clearly marked roads, properly and clearly designated areas whereby you can actually know this is a black spot. You know, people just mention it, but you can't actually know where exactly it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for you, Nelly, road accidents means something else. You lost your 22-year-old daughter to road carnage. When you hear that the numbers are rising by the day, what are the loopholes for you?
I think first and foremost, we need an attitude change. I was somehow glad that I saw road carnage on the news today as opposed to road accidents, because when we think about it in terms of accidents, then what we are simply saying, it's chance, it's coincidence, it's a mishap, it's a misfortune. You know, it's something that is out of our control. And in Kiswahili, they say that ajali haina kinga. So I think we need to get to a point where we take responsibility, because whatever happens on our roads is actually the outcome of our own behavior on the roads. So self-discipline is important, but attitude change is important. We need to get to a place where we know that it's not somebody else's fault, but it was my fault. I caused it. And so we manage our roads, which is the government's role. We should manage our own cars, make sure we have road-worthy cars. We need to manage ourselves as human beings so that we don't have to have a whip over us to do the right thing.
Okay, Jacqueline, you're living this reality. You are still undergoing physiotherapy 11 years on. It is an expensive affair. What would you want the stakeholders to keep in mind, even as they deal with this matter?
Okay. I would love the state to personally tackle the issue about the therapy too, because it's an expensive thing. Also, about the road carnage, they should tackle the issue also, because some accidents are avoidable. If everybody is careful on the road, I think we can avoid that.
Okay, for you, Diko, we're going into the festivities, and it seems that everyone throws care to the wind. What would be your clarion call to all, even as we go to this season?
Okay, Gladys, first of all, I need to tell you something. Most of these matatu in town here, Mombasa, Nairobi, wherever, they're being owned by these big names in the country. So they can do anything, these drivers. After all, at Wakishiko was just one phone call away. Na matatu na, inakuja kuachiliwa. So it's better for us as Kenyans to, though this campaign, the Zusha campaign, I don't know how it ended. So it's better for us to think about that, because at the end of the day, we're the ones suffering.
Okay, for you, Sarah, you are in the transport business. What can you hold you on?
Well, like he said, it's when the drivers, they make a mistake, it's only a phone call away. You as the passenger, it doesn't matter what the driver is doing, how they're driving. At the end of the day, you're the one who will suffer the agony of their recklessness, right? So you as the passenger, it's your point to say you're driving too fast, you're not driving in a reasonable manner, you know? So it's all, it's everyone.
It's a two-way traffic,
yeah, it's a
so
two-way
to
traffic.
speak. All right, even as we close, well, what is your clarion call, even as we take personal responsibility?
Well, I mean, I like to say this. You know, every single year, even in the news, you expect December, so many people have died. We can come here, sing Kumbaya, say, oh, what, I was affected. But then the thing is, we have to remember, even we have to know as Kenyans, we have the ability to change. We're not fools. We're not people that we just keep on repeating the same thing over and over again. We did it with the elections. We didn't fight each other. No, we didn't. We learned. We know that this is not the way we're supposed to do this. We adjust. We cause change. Hence, we can do the same thing right now. Let's stop repeating the same thing over and over again and stop singing. I don't want to come back here next year with someone else in a wheelchair saying that I lost because no. Let it end. It's over now, okay? Let's do that. I mean, that's it, okay? 2018, no, we're done.
Okay. There you have it. Here, we've been talking to real people, real issues, and they have brought up their solutions as to how they think this road carnage should be dealt with. And of course, going forward, it is important to actually remember that to each number that we put out there as a result of a road accident is a human life and another affected by it.